good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Good time, as we say in Persian these days. It is my very distinct privilege and pleasure to be talking with Ms. Sarshar. Of those 3,000 interviews that she referred to, I have had the good fortune of being interviewed by her a few times, and it is my now pleasure to, for the first time, actually interview her. There is one aspect of her remarkable career that was not mentioned in the bio, and I want to mention that, and that is she and her husband's remarkable life as a philanthropist, as supporters of arts, and as supporters of Iranian studies. When we were trying to launch an Iranian program at Stanford, we were trying to go around and ask people to contribute to this program. And the first outside this area invitation that we received was at her home. She and her husband invited us, Mike McFall and I went there. So we have benefited from her generosity over the course of our program. And the last indication was that she kindly donated her remarkable archive of all of these interviews to Stanford, as well as the a copy of the Jewish oral history. So it is with immense gratitude and humble appreciation of all she has done for Iranian arts, for Iranian artists, and for journalism, and for women's cause that we welcome her. Welcome, Ms. Sarshar.
Thank you very much, Dr. Milani. You are very kind. I'm humbled by your introduction, and it is my honor to be in conversation with you and invited by Stanford, very respectful university.
Thank you. So you have worked in Iran as a journalist. My first two questions are, what were the biggest challenges as a pioneering woman journalist in Iran, working as a woman journalist? And then what were the challenges of trying to continue that career in diaspora? So challenges in Iran, challenges in diaspora.
Challenges in Iran were different. I have been between the first 10 Iranian women journalists and journalism, and when I started, and it was challenging in that sense that we were working hard. We were trying hard to get our own position in the magazine or newspaper that we were working. But normally men would have the better hand to have a better position with the same work and the same level of years of work and experience that they had. But it was a very good time for us when I started, because women have been given more opportunity to be in the political scenes, to be in the workforce, and as such, I was invited to work for Zan-e Ruz, the magazine that at the time that I was hired, it has not been started yet, has not been published. It published 2-3 months after I was hired, and we knew that we are going to a new era, and we knew that we are very new to this arena, journalism. So, for example, I accepted to be a translator and also to reporter for Zan-e Ruz with a very humble salary, but I was very, very adamant to put my mark on the journalism and do whatever is needed to do it. So me and a few of others, handful of others, women that started the journalism, we had a little bit rough path to continue, but I think prior to the revolution, we were very confident. We were very settled in what we were doing. So that's why after the print journalism, I started also television. I was invited to produce a program without experience, but there was like, now that I'm in the United States, I know that it's called quota. But I think that at that time, there was a quota to hire more women for different jobs and different opportunity careers. So I was fortunate to be also hired for NIR TV, National Iranian Radio Television, and started my own program called Zan-e Ruz, which was an educational program for family, for women rights. We talked about what right the woman has. I had done a lot of interviews and panel discussion about this. And to be honest with you, Dr. Milani, I didn't face too much challenges, except that our men colleagues were as maybe a little bit inferior to them. And that was not that important for us, that had something in mind that we needed to be there and we needed to start having women in the workforce.
And what about the challenges in diaspora?
Well, the challenges in the diaspora is more important and more, it was a very challenging to start with as an immigrant, as a woman, as an Iranian. So it was we had three problems to solve, because when I came to the United States, I exiled myself in the United States. I left Iran 2 months prior to the revolution and came here, and I was very, very optimistic that I will go back. So because I was a journalist, I went to USC to master's degree, get a master's of art at Annenberg School of Communication, with a hope to go back in Iran with better information, better knowledge for journalism. And I was very optimistic at that time. As a student at USC, well, I was very welcomed, and I learned a lot at this Annenberg School of Communication. And when I finished and I got my master's degree, I felt that there is no way back. And we started with a couple of our friends, we started a radio program called Radio Meet with Iraj Gorgin, you know him very well, and a few other colleagues from the NIR TV. And we also started doing personally myself, I started to elaborate career outside the Iranian community. I worked for an NBC for a couple of months as an intern. I worked with Bank of America as a PR. All this was like an internship, but there was no chance for me at my age and the language that I didn't know. I was primarily Persian speaking and also French speaking, because I was at school with your sister, beloved sister Farzaneh, and we were at French school. So our second language was French. I learned English here. And there was no chance. I tried to, for NBC, try to be behind the scene, do some research for them. They hesitated, and I know why, because so many demands are here for, especially in journalism, for younger generation, younger people with a better accent, knowledge of English. So at one time, I stopped this challenge, and I said I should do something for my my community, Iranian community. That's why we started a radio program. I started a magazine, monthly magazine for the Iranian Jewish Federation. And from then to today, I have been in Persian community and working with Persian community, working for Persian community. And the challenges is still in the Persian community is having different ideas or different ideal or different point of view politically or socially with other Iranian community, which was okay until 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I have been facing challenges that I never thought I would, because the Persian community is divided in two very strongly, and there is a very big and incredible tension between the community here in Los Angeles and all over the United States. You know yourself, Dr. Milani, about this. And I may say for 55 years that I worked, I haven't faced such a challenge. This challenge is new. It made me angry, it made me anxious at the beginning, but now I said, well, this is what it is. We should face it. We should do whatever is needed. I should do whatever is needed. I cannot back up. So at this age, a new challenge. So I add all these challenges, and I can say that for 55 years, as a journalist, as a writer, as a human rights activist, as a women's rights activist and minority rights activist, challenges were different, but not as
in your appraisal of the Iranian women's movement, you have been following it, you have been part of it, you have been pioneer in it. What is your assessment if you were to now look back and look at this, not just look back, look at this current movement, both in journalism, in literature, in arts, in minority rights, in approaches to gays and lesbians, in approaches to equality. How do you see, has there been a progress? Has there been a gradual progress? Has been a paradigm shift? What is your assessment of the women's movement?
I remember the first time that I started to collaborate with women activists. It was back in Iran. At the time of when we were, time that the delegate of Iranian women in the Majlis, the representative at the Majlis or House of Representatives started the law or the act of family protection. At that time, as a journalist, I was going all over and interviewing other women to reflect what they're doing and to actually to be at their side and to be supportive of this movement. And this was my first active women movement. And that was a very successful movement. The Act of Family Protection passed and became a law. And at that time, we were very happy. And we continue for other demands that women had. And I believe that gradually, Iranian women before the revolution, although most of the rights, they were given to them, but they were appreciative of that. And they were also participating in it. And the future at that time, looking at the horizon, it was very bright for Iranian women at that time. I myself I am one of the representative of women who went to the university, and this maybe was not possible for my grandmother or my mother generation. And we appreciate it all, but I think that the only reason that I think that women, also some of the women during the revolution supported the revolution was that they didn't really appreciate it wholeheartedly what there is between us in the newsroom or in the Kayhan hall, where the writers were sitting and we were talking and with other, they were saying, they were given, these rights are given to us. We need to work ourselves. We need to grab it. We need to work for it, so to be appreciative of that. This happened after the revolution. As soon as the revolution happened and the women, the first movement of Iranian women was against the mandatory veil. This showed to me, and for the past 41 years that the revolution has started, this has not stopped by Iranian women because they thought this time they need to do something themselves. And the perseverance of Iranian women, presence in the scene, political scene, and also human rights scene, women's rights scene, and all this, and showing what they want and being courageous to show, and fighting with the Islamic Republic of Iran all the time with no stop, with no break. For me, this shows that when women want to do something, they do it. And I always, the title of our conversation today is the Achilles heel of Islamic Republic of Iran. These are women. I used that idiom maybe 36, 37 years ago in one of my articles that I wrote. And I still believe to this day that if something happens, if this regime is overturned, if another revolution happens in Iran, the Iranian women are the one that are in the front. And they have been doing this for years, for decades, and tirelessly, they have done this. And I always bring their name with pride. And I think that the only thing that I, as an activist, do outside Iran for them in diaspora is to just bring their voice, give them a voice, because at the beginning they even didn't have any communication with outside world, but we give them with the different network that we bring with the NGOs and different organization, women organization. We just connected to them and we gave them voice for the whole world to know what's going on with the Iranian women. And they haven't stopped. And they get the right that it's the God-given right, the equality in every aspect of life, especially equality in law, in rights that they should have. And I'm very optimistic that it will happen one day. Maybe me and you we won't see it, but 40 years for a nation and for a country is not long. For a person is long. Maybe I would be sad if I don't see that day, but I know that one day this is going to happen.
I'm convinced that you're right. We will see it. You will see it, and hopefully I will see it, because I think you're right. The women's movement has been at the forefront for not just the women's movement, but for the democratic struggle.
Exactly.
Would you agree that because women have been in the forefront of this democratic movement, they have changed the structure of this democratic movement in very important ways?
I believe that. And I think that these days we're seeing a lot of Iranian men supporting this movement, which was not the case maybe half a century ago. And they are fighting for the separation of religion and government. Women are doing this, and men are supporting it. So this is and also they're just bringing about the knowledge and information that all the religion, Abrahamic religion, if they are working with the government together, the first victim of this coalition would be women. So I think Iran, after the Islamic Republic of today's Islamic Republic government, after that, Iran will never see a coalition between the government and the religion, because women have been the biggest victim of this coalition, and they have changed the view of other people, other citizens of Iran to this point.
Would you also agree that the kind of movement that has come about, this kind of civil disobedience that has been really remarkable by women, has changed the structure of the political movement for democracy in Iran in a much more fundamental way? Would you agree with that?
Great point, Dr. Milani. I agree with you 100%. Starting with White Wednesdays, starting with the movement, Green Movement, and in forefront of all this, you see a younger generation of Iranian women in front and doing this. And the civil disobedience is something that I should have pointed, and I thank you for bringing this up, because it's a very important point. 100%, I agree with you.
As you indicated yourself, it almost began immediately after they tried to force the hijab. Women began to resist, from
Yes.
coming out in the streets in thousands to sometimes individually resisting, as in some of the cases you know better than I do, maybe yourself, who said, no, I'm not going to do this. And you paid the price, you got thrown out of your job. There are thousands of women who did this. And I think they have reshaped the political landscape in Iran.
Yeah, and they have a saying. They are very, you can see them all over. When something happens in Iran, you see them in the photographs, in all this weekend on the social media. You see always women in front and giving, in my opinion, women are giving courage to men to come out and to do all the demonstration, to continue the demonstration. And right now you see the number of Iranian women activists and there are political activists or human rights activists in jail. Why? Because they are in forefront and they're really doing a great job, unbelievable job. And that makes Iranian women in the whole world, in the view of the whole world, a group of citizens that are very respectful, very active, and they are demanding for their own right. They're not, and also I should not forget to tell that all this opposition Iranian women shows, and it's peaceful. It's peaceful. They never have been aggressive. They never had done something that's illegal or violent. Always their demand and their demonstration is peaceful, and this is something that they show to the world how they face the Islamic Republic of Iran.
You use the word, I keep wanting to go back to it. You said during the Shah's period, there was a quota to include women in many places. I think that's a very progressive quota. Today, we know there are quotas against women entering universities, in jobs, travel, on almost every domain where the regime can. They are imposing quotas to limit women, and they can't do it. They try to put quotas on women in university. 60% of university students are women. So exactly as you say, the movement from below has continued to grow.
Yeah, and besides the quota, there's also some careers or some department that the women are not even allowed to go, and they don't let them go to university and study those careers. So this is a double violation of their right. They have quota, and also they are not allowed to go and continue or reach the goal that they have in their life, because on some area they cannot do it. They cannot study, they cannot work, and this is very unfortunate. But for example, singers, vocalists, Iranian vocalists, their woman's voice is forbidden in the Republic. But how many of Iranian women singers have you seen that they have concerts and they do the concerts in the house, on the basement for others, and they didn't stop. They didn't accept what was imposed to them. You have given to few of them prizes at the Stanford. Yeah. These are its symbols, and also the heroes of Iranian women that did what they were asked not to do, and they did it, and they did it perfectly.
The Parisa, I think you're referring to. Yes. Parisa, yes. Was truly the grand dame of classical Persian music, and she could.
And Simine Behbahani and other women, yeah, in different areas, yeah, literature and art and stuff like this.
There was an image, I'm sure you saw a few, 3 weeks ago maybe, a woman who went to a mosque, I think it was in Esfahan, took off her veil and sang a little song. It was just stunning, both the defiance, the place she had chosen, and exactly what you're saying. And Shajarian told us when he was visiting Stanford that there's never been as many women training in classical Persian vocal as there is now, and they can't perform.
Here you are.
So let me ask a personal question. When was it that you first thought of yourself as a feminist? Do you remember?
Yes. I have been brought up in a family, in a Jewish family, and with matriarch. My grandmother and my mother always had the saying in the family. But in most other family at that time, women had the saying, but they wouldn't show family, they would show. And the expectation was for me as such to be. And I have done taken few steps in different areas of my life. For example, when I was being, how do you call it? When I had my husband, my future husband came for my hand, as they say, khastagari, which was a very a traditional way of seeing or meeting your future husband. And there was a tradition in Muslim and Jewish both, that the father of the bride to be would ask for money. That we call it mehriye. I don't know how do you call it in English. This is like a
something called the bride money
for the wife.
Yeah.
Yes, and when I was sitting there at with the family, and they asked me to go out, I was at the first year of the university, and I said, "Why should I go out?" And they said, "There's some discussion that you're not supposed to be here." So I went there, and then my aunt came to my room and I said, "Oh, congratulations, it's passed." And I said, "What passed?" And I said, "Your husband accepted to pay 400,000 toman for your mehriye," which was a big amount for that. And I said, "Why?" And he said, "This is the tradition." I said, "You sold me?" No, nobody gets this money. This is just tradition. So I was very, very upset of this. And I said, not in my family, they shouldn't do it. But my mom also accepted because it was tradition. And the day that I married my husband, a week after, I just told him, "You are free. You don't have to pay me my bride money." And said, "How you do this?" I said, "I don't want it because I feel bad." And I wrote a letter to him, a legal letter that my bride money has been taken. It's okay. I don't want it anymore. And I think at that time, that I was 19 years old, that the respect for women, the honoring of a woman, is not to exchange it with money. Maybe that was the first step that I thought I should do something about this. And then came the family protection family, and then after that came the abortion laws in Iran. And all these were just giving the woman the liberty and freedom to live their life and to do whatever they want with their body, and to prevent themselves to be sold. So always when I discuss this, people say this is just a tradition, but they say this is a very nasty tradition. I don't like it, and it should be waived. It should be unlawful to do this. But I think still they are doing it in Islamic Republic of Iran.
Absolutely.
And in villages, maybe in villages and stuff. So until the day that a woman is not sold, a bride is not sold, I think I should continue my activism for the Iranian women's rights.
Absolutely. And it's a brilliant anecdote because it shows how instinctive initially your feminism was, because I think that is a very profoundly feminist gesture. Said, I want a bond of marriage, but I don't want it to be held together with the threat of money, which is essentially, of course, we have to understand that tradition has come about because women don't have rights of inheritance, women don't get anything. And this was a protection for women.
Protection for women. Yeah.
But you didn't ever want that protection. You want to stand on your own. And that's a remarkable feminist gesture. But of course, I have to also say, because I have a great deal of eradat to your husband, they chose well.
Thank you. Yeah, that's good. He's a very supportive man, and he's a very supportive husband. And he accepted when I was getting married to him. I was at first year of the school at the university, and I said, he asked me, what do you want to do? I said, I want to continue my education. I want to get my bachelor's degree, at least my bachelor's degree. I said, whatever you want to do. Until what time, any time that you want to educate, you want to get educated, you want to go to the school, you want to go to the university, be my guest, do it, and I will support you. And he just, the promise that he gave me, it was all the way. He even helped me to babysit my kids when I was going to this class. And he's different from the traditional Iranian man, and I'm happy to marry him.
I have to ask you about one of your books, although it's not about women's movement, but it shows the quality of your work and the quality of journalism. For those who might not know, Sha'ban Jafari was infamously known as Sha'ban Brainless. And everyone had agreed that this was a picture that has been created of him, the person that helped overthrow Mossadegh. And when he was alone and isolated in Los Angeles, Ms. Sarshar decided to actually get what his story is. So could you tell us a little bit about your decision to do that book?
That was my journalism instinct when I saw him first. And I remember that I thought, this guy has a very big, grandiose presence. When he was sitting in a room with other people, he would start just discussing, talking, and everybody would listen to him, or everybody was interested to see what he's telling. And in one instance that I saw him, I said, how come that nobody thought that this man has something to say? Because every time that is a book or an article written about Mordad, the 28th of Mordad, 28 Mordad, and the coup, is Sha'ban Jafari is one of the names that comes up. So he needs to be listened to. People should listen to what he has to say. Right or wrong, that's another question. But we should, and the first time that I saw him, so Mr. Jafari, you should write a book about your life. Are you willing to give me that opportunity to interview you and do it like an oral history? And he said, yes, of course, but I need to think about it. And from that time until he accepted to do it, 16 years passed. Every time that for any occasion I saw him in a restaurant, I saw him in a gathering or something, I would ask again. And I thought that this is overdue. We should do it. And last time that I talked to him, the last time that he accepted, I said, you're getting old and you're sick. You may pass, and without having your own word, people to hear it. I don't know what happened, but I think that time something clicked on him, and he said, okay, I accept, come. But he gave me he asked me for a few promises, which I gave my word for it and I accepted. And he wanted to read the book before publishing, which I accepted also and gave it to him. He didn't make a lot of changes, but to be honest. But on the way of doing the interviews and writing the book, you gave me the honor to reading the book and giving some advice, and also a couple of other friends, professors at the universities and people who know about writing, Dr. Ahmad Karimi Haqqaq and such. And this was a project very close to my heart, and I worked hard. And the only difference that the book had with Oral History Project is in each chapter, I compared his word with what was published in other books or in the archives. So at the end of the book, the reader have a bunch of documents or writings or articles that I brought into the book to compare and see right where he's not right. So the book was taken very seriously in the academic group, and I'm happy that I did it. I'm because not long after this book was published, he passed away.
I began the question by saying that I thought this is not related to the women's movement, but as I heard you, I realized that it is profoundly related, in a sense that Sha'ban Jafari, who was one of the embodiments of macho Iranianness, the hero, someone who sort of macho-ness personified, his voice, his last voice, was a woman.
A woman, exactly. I wrote in my preface of the book, I said, I don't know why he chose a woman, but maybe he thinks that women are more trustworthy, and or maybe he thought that I was genuinely respecting whatever he said, and I would not cheat him. But anyway, you're right. He gave his voice to a woman.
That's fantastic. I think I have abused my right as the person to ask you a question and kept you too long. There are many questions from the audience, so thank you very much. It was really my privilege to chat with you.
It was my honor, and it was good. For the first time, you questioned me instead of me interviewing you, Dr. Milani.
I have learned at the foot of a master.
Oh, you're nice. You're nice.
Thank you so much. We do have a lot of questions and comments coming in, so I want to pass on a few to you. One viewer says, in view of the systematic persecution of women's rights defenders and activists like Nasrin Sotoudeh, how do we mobilize Iran's global diaspora to secure the release of women's rights activists in Iran?
We're globally and mobilizing globally, it's a very hard work to do. But as such that in different cities and in different countries, Iranian women outside Iran and also Iranian men that are activists, and they're trying hard to let the world know, especially United Nations, especially Human Rights Watch, especially all the activists in different cities and different countries. This is what is the essence of our work, our activism, to let other people know, to talk about it, to show them documentaries, to show them their life, to write about it, to have. So I think that in this situation, every single NGO, every single group of Iranian activists, human rights or women's rights activists, has the responsibility to let other people, the whole world, the international world, know about it. And this is whatever you can do. As a journalist, I write about it, I talk about it, I have panels. Somebody as a professor of the university can bring all his colleagues together, his or her colleagues together, and write an open letter to the universities, to responsible people around the world. So it depends on how much of yourself, how much of your power you can use it, and you are willing to use it to support this movement.
Thank you. Another viewer asks if you can please elaborate more on the division you mentioned that exists in the Iranian community. Is it a political, religious, or some other form of division?
Right now, as we're sitting and talking, is political. It's political, but it has also an underline of religion and underline of different views of people from capitalism or communism or socialism, because these days, a lot of Iranian, we hear from them that they are, for example, giving their vote to one of the candidate, and they mentioned that because they want the Iranian regime be overturned. And the next president of the United States, if it's such a candidate or the other candidate, they would either do it or don't do it. And this has been very, very active and very hot discussion between the Iranian community. And I can, as the Iranian community is like a small example of what's going on in the bigger United States. It looks like they have taken a knife and they have divided the community or divided the country in two exact opposing views. You see the result of the election and the vote that we gave, and it's 50-50 almost, 51 or 49. So the same goes for Iranian community. And I haven't seen such a animosity, such anger, such a fighting between the community, and this is all is because of underlying preference that one has and the other opposing view doesn't have it, about Iran, about the Jewish community, about Israel, about taxes and all these. So as a citizen of the United States, Iranian born American, they also have a point of view that is exactly as the one that is you can see in the bigger picture of the United States.
Thank you. And I know you spoke about this a little bit already, but we've had a few questions along the same line. So I'm going to ask all three of them and then maybe pick up if there's anything you'd like to add. Viewers write, why didn't Iranian women activists get any support from Iranian men after the revolution for the mandatory veil, etc.? And another viewer writes, why did women after the Islamic Revolution accept the new Islamic limitations while they were at the forefront of the revolution and had more freedom and awareness for their rights? And one more writes, although Mr. Khomeini was against women's right to vote, Iranian women supported him in the beginning of the revolution. Why? Did they forget his history of being anti-women's rights?
Well, one of the reasons is that Iranian people in general, they didn't know Khomeini. Khomeini was in exile for many years. And the first time that many Iranians heard about him was at the verge of the revolution. So I give you one example, a personal example. When we were working at Kayhan newspaper, and there was a strike between the journalists for 60-day strike that we wouldn't write because everybody was supporting the revolution, mostly in Kayhan. And we were talking, we didn't have anything to do. We were striking, sitting there, not doing anything. And we were just discussing between ourselves. And I would ask, why are you going for a religious man, to my colleagues from the left ideology? And they said, this is symbolic. Even women, they said, this is symbolic. Why are you putting a veil and going to the demonstration? This is symbolic. When the revolution happened, if we are successful to overthrow Shah, it's going to be very easy to let this religious guy, to go to his home and sit in Rome and not interfere with the political of Iran or with the, Iran's ruling. And that was a mistake. That was a big mistake. And I think we should just accept that this mistake was ignorance, from the ignorance of not knowing the guy and not knowing what will happen if a regime, a religious regime or people or religious people come and demand or rule bring in the revolution and they will go sit down and they will not do anything anymore after that. It's not going to happen. It didn't happen, but with the eyes that we have today, we can explain what happened. But at that time, many people were so excited, so blindfolded, and they would have, the only thing that they wanted is for Shah to go, and whoever comes, we can just change it. We can have election, we can bring whoever we want, that's good for the country, and this all going to pass. And it didn't pass.
Thank you. One viewer asks, what do you think about the political and legal activities of Iranian women working in the executive power, like Jonaidi, Ebtekar, Molaverdi? Do you consider them as women's rights activists?
No, I don't. You cannot be a women's rights activist and work with this government. That's it. In one short sentence, I can say, no, I don't accept them. I don't. Maybe they're activists for Islamic Sharia laws to bring about those, and they are women that they accept whatever the religion gives them and guide them, but not women rights activists. No.
Thank you. A comment and a question from another viewer. Iranian women continue to be a strong, nonviolent movement, which is bold, courageous, and unwilling to back down under the severest of oppression. We do not see any similar movement in other Islamic countries where the rights of women are suppressed. Why do you think this is the case?
I don't agree with this question. I think that in all the movement that happened in Islamic or non-Islamic countries, women have been also participating, but Iranian women have been very, very visible. They have very visible involvement. And that's because I don't know why. I don't know the reason. Maybe some researcher needs to find the reason, but I think they are a big exception in the whole world and in the Middle East, and even in the Middle Eastern movement in different countries. Iranian women are stronger, and they are just tirelessly working and not getting away any minute.
Thank you. Another viewer says, I'm grateful to you, Ms. Sarshar, for your advocacy of women. Do you think your cultural background as a Jewish woman gave you the courage to begin your path of fighting for women's rights, meaning that you might not have been as accepted for speaking up with your voice had you been a Muslim woman? And then just another question from a viewer, was being Jewish also a challenge either in pre-revolution Iran or in the US? I
don't think that giving voice to women in Jewish faith is any different from in Muslim faith. Is even more archaic, if you want. And then having a woman with voice, having a woman with ideas, having a woman to be an activist woman in Jewish communities, much harder and much challenging than in Islamic faith. So. I do not compare these two as one better than the other one. Both are just preventing women to raise their voice for the right. And it's for me as a Jewish woman, it was hard. I was not very much accepted in my community back, and here also, for example, the opposition that it should show if a Jewish man is against, for example, Trump or Biden, as opposed to a woman who is against Trump or Biden, the woman will get more of insult or attack from the community. And that shows that there is no difference. When religion is, where we are talking about religion, Abrahamic religion like Islam and Judaism and Christianity are both very unfair to women.
Thank you. A viewer writes, one of the most salient features of your work is your courage to break ancestral silences. Thank you for your pioneering work. Would you please tell us what is a taboo topic you wish to address but never did?
Well, I don't see which one I've not addressed, but there was a lot of taboo. I have a gay son, and in the Iranian community and the Jewish community, this is a big taboo. And I started talking about it, and my son was also very, very adamant to be out of closet. And I have also helped all this LGBTQ community, Iranian LGBTQ community, to feel comfortable with themselves. And this is the last taboo that I think I had for the community that I talk about. It has started maybe from 20 years ago, but has been very more visible the last 10 years because of the different community of LGBTQ Iranian that has been formed. So I work closely with them, and I make their voice heard, and Besides that, I don't see any other taboo. I am famous for breaking taboos all the time.
Thank you. One viewer asks, how does the feminist movement in Iran fit in with Western feminism? Do you see the two as compatible?
Not very, but it's in essence, because it's activism from women for women's rights, it can be compared with each other. But the way that the Western women work to progress this movement is totally different from Iranian or Middle Eastern women or that part of the East part of the world. So you should be aware of culture, you should be aware of tradition, you should be aware of geography or the situation of the country, you should be aware of the country, the government, and all these makes activism, women activism in my country, in Iran, much more difficult than in Western countries.
Thank you. What do you suggest to bring back some dialogues among the Iranian Jewish community and other Iranians?
Well, I think Trump has not helped that and had made it worse for the last 4 years. Contrary to what they said that Trump is a president that respects and loves Jewish people and also Israel, I think during that last 4 years, the anti-Semitism, anti-Israel sentiment has been highest, and also the violence and attack to the synagogues and also to cemeteries, Jewish schools, that he didn't help it. So if his followers are following him the way he's doing the job, I don't see any bright future in bringing in those people in conversation right now. We should see.
Thank you. We have just a few minutes left, so I want to ask two last questions to leave on. What advice would you give to young women journalists in Iran today? And what gives you hope, if any, for the future of Iran?
But the Iranian women journalists in Iran, they're very courageous. They don't need my advice. They're working perfectly. They are doing a great job. And the only thing I know a few of them, I'm in constant contact with them and correspondence with them. And I always said, I'm very proud of you for what you're doing. I know you are facing a big challenge, but bravo for what you're doing. So I don't have any advice to give them. I think that just giving a pat in the back for what they're doing. And as for, what was the second question, the future of Iran?
What gives you hope for the future of Iran?
Iranian women. And continue great job that you're doing and great work that they're doing. And staying strong and continue what they're doing. It will happen.
Thank you. I think that's a wonderful place to end it on. Thank you so much to everyone who submitted questions and comments. And thank you, Ms. Sarshar, for a wonderful conversation. This event was recorded, so we will share the recording in a few weeks' time on our website and our YouTube channel. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Roma, for your invitation. Thank you, Stanford, and also Hamid and Christina Moaddam, the program of Iranian Studies, for inviting me. It was an honor.